Welcome to Bible Study with Fred. This morning in Job 16, verses 1 to 5. Experiment with the lighting here. This may be a little bit too bright. I'll just kind of tinker with it over time. Um, so, where Job is responding to Eliphaz's second attack on his character and blaming him for the problems that are coming on him. And of course, the point is not to say that we don't always often bring on um, problems that that we've caused ourselves, but there are situations where we had nothing to do with it. I mean, we don't even know what's going on or why it happened. And what we often do in um, other people's suffering, we tend to assume knowledge we don't have. Christians, especially conservative fundamental Christians, are often guilty of this, as if they know some kind of secret that God hasn't told them, but they just know it. So, and I'm reminded of someone once said that a young man who had cancer, a young man, a family man, he had cancer because he rejected the call to the ministry, which is stupid because that person who said that had no way of knowing that. They just were making it up. And this is what Job's friends seem to be circling around him and believing that if something bad happens to you, it's because of something you did. Now, like I say, it often happens that way. 99% of the bad things that have happened in my life has been my own fault. But it is possible, and you have people around you that things happen to that have no control over and have no cause that you can directly link to them. And you don't know if there's some kind of secret that they're keeping that's causing this. So, let's not assume knowledge we don't have. That's one of the worst things that Christians do, especially conservative Christians, is assuming some kind of understanding of God's purpose that they don't have, they couldn't possibly have because he hasn't told them. So Job 16, 1 to 5. If you want to purchase my comments in the book form, you can do it on Amazon and paperback or Kindle, or just follow me here. So the Job answered and said, in verse 1, excuse me, I've heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeth thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do. If your soul were in my soul's stead, I could heap up words against you and shake mine head again at you. But I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. An important fact about the way this Bible is written is the way it uses the words for singular you, thee, thou, and thine, and the words for plural you, ye, and your. In other words, when a Bible speaker is referring to thee, he's talking about an individual. When he's referring to you, he's talking about a group. This can change the meaning from what we who aren't used to using thee and thine think it is. For instance, in Genesis 17, 9 and 10, and God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant before thee, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. God tells Abraham that he is to keep the covenant, and also those of his descendants are to do the same. Then God says that they are all to keep this covenant that is between God and them, defined as Abraham's seed after them. All of the male children were to be circumcised. This distinction of singular and plural, you may not seem important, but it changes the meaning of more important passages from what we're taught by newer, less literal Bibles. For instance, here's a big point: Luke 22:31 and 32. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may shift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not when thou art converted. Strengthen thy brethren. In this passage, Jesus declares that Satan has requested the permission to attack the apostles, the two U's of verse 31. But Jesus has asked of the Father that Peter's faith be strengthened so that he can support the others. Still, though, Peter will fail, as you will soon see if you read the rest of the narrative. The use of thee and you is a subtle difference, but important in understanding. The King James translators revived the practice of using thee and thou in this way, as by their time those words may have only indicated intimate speech, as in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, when Juliet says, Romeo, Romeo, Wherefore art thou Romeo? If she laments his being a Montague, wherefore means why. Um, and that that comes from Romeo, Act 2, Scene 2. Okay, um, so here in Job chapter 16, Job says his friends are terrible at the job of comforting someone and then accuses Eliphaz of vain words. He then says he could treat them all as they have treated him if the roles were reversed, but he wouldn't do to them what they're doing to him. He insists he would comfort them. Assuage means to restrain or abate. Genesis 8, 1 to 3. And God remembered Noah and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of 150 days, the waters were abated. See, the Bible is not rocket science. If you will take the time to read it carefully rather than just having someone spoon feed bits and pieces to you, learn to feed yourself, Christian, on this amazing book that your creator had his hand in and wants to speak to you through. You're looking rather gaunt and hungry spiritually. Job's declaration that he would not do to his friends what his friends have done to him is a fundamental of Christianity. It goes against the idea of revenge and paybacks that our culture teaches us from birth, particularly young men who would feel dominated if they didn't return evil for evil. There are no inferior culture people, okay? Only inferior cultures. Cultures that accept cruelty, abuse, exploitation of women, children, or animals as okay behavior for man are inferior, for example. If your culture admires revenge, then it is wicked and you should take your mind out of it. As Jesus said on occasions, Matthew 5:44 and 45. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh the sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Matthew 7:12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do you even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. In Luke 6:27. But I say unto you, which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And unto him that smiteth thee on one cheek, offer also the other. Him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also. Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again. And as you would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. And Paul said, Romans 12:7, recompense 12:17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Now that'll keep a young man who thinks he's all that in a bag of chips out of church, won't it? Probably many a young woman as well. Job insisted he would not do the hurt to his friends that they have done to him if the situation was reversed. Can you honestly claim that when you are hurt by a brother or sister? Okay, we're going to stop there and start in his continuous talk in verse 6 next time. Thank you.